At a sunny family brunch, the conversation turned to recent vacations.
You would not believe the suite on that ship. Balcony, champagne, the whole thing.
Wait, what ship? I thought the trip was postponed.
Oh, didn't your parents tell you? The whole family went. Even Aunt Patricia and Aunt Nancy. It was the Mediterranean cruise we all talked about last year.
The Mediterranean cruise, the one that was supposed to happen after my surgery, with the fund.
Isabella set down her fork, the pieces clicking into place with terrifying clarity.
They used my surgery money, all of them, for a vacation.
She stared at her own reflection, the face of a woman whose own family had priced her life at a balcony suite.
6 months on a charity waitlist, because a cruise was more important. I won't cry. I won't give them that.
3 months earlier, a cardiologist sat across from Isabella and gave her a number, $310,000. The surgery for her rare congenital heart defect was not covered by insurance.
The number hung in the air like a death sentence. Mom, the surgery costs $310,000.
Oh, Isabella, your father and I will handle this. We are calling a family meeting.
That Sunday, the living room filled with family. Parents, siblings, aunts, and grandmother Catherine.
We have opened an emergency account. We are all contributing.
We will cover what we can. This family takes care of its own.
I have set aside my retirement. It is for Isabella.
By nightfall, $260,000 sat in a shared account. Isabella looked at the faces around her and finally felt hope. 7 days later, the same living room held 6 adults. Isabella was not among them.
I have found a solution. The Mediterranean cruise we postponed last year is available again. A once-in-a-lifetime chance.
That money was for Isabella's surgery. You cannot be serious.
She might not survive the wait anyway. Are we supposed to let the family rot while she waits?
Stephen is right. We all need something to look forward to. It's been a hard year. You are stealing from a woman who trusted you to save her life. This is betrayal dressed up as a vacation.
Let's vote. All in favor of redirecting the fund to the cruise, raise your hand.
6 hands went up. Dorothy, Stephen, Ethan, Sarah, Patricia, Nancy. Only Catherine stayed down, her knuckles white on her lap.
It is decided. The funds will be transferred. Not a word to Isabella.
The room emptied slowly, the others avoiding Catherine's stare. She remained, staring at the empty chair where Isabella should have sat. Isabella walked back to the brunch table. Her face was carefully blank.
Emma just told me about the cruise, the one that was supposed to be after my surgery.
We decided as a family it was for the best. Sometimes difficult choices have to be made.
Don't be dramatic, Isabella. It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip. You'll have your surgery eventually.
They look right through me. I'm not even a person to them anymore.
She didn't wait. She walked out of the restaurant and drove home in silence. Once inside her apartment, she called the hospital to confirm her surgery date. The voice on the other end said her file had been transferred to the charity clinic. Her new timeline, 6 months.
6 months. I don't know if my heart will wait that long.
She stared at the photo of her and Catherine on the shelf, and the tears she had been holding back finally fell. Weeks dissolved into slow, heavy days. Isabella's skin grew translucent, her walks to the mailbox a little shorter each time. Then one ordinary morning, an envelope slid through the mail slot and stopped at her feet. The note inside was handwritten, unsigned. Your surgery is paid in full. No debt remains. An anonymous donor believes your life is worth every cent.
This handwriting, it feels familiar, but I cannot place it. Carol, is this real? The hospital just got a stranger's check for my surgery?
It cleared this morning. Isabella, your surgery is fully funded. We can schedule you for next week.
That afternoon, she circled a date on her calendar in red ink, her hand shaking.
Mom, did you or Dad pay for my surgery? Just tell me.
Don't be ridiculous, Isabella. We used that money for the cruise. I have no idea who would throw away cash on a long shot.
A long shot that someone just paid for in full. Whoever you are, thank you.
The morning of the surgery, Isabella walked through the hospital doors alone, the unsigned note tucked inside her cardigan.
Whoever paid for this, I will find a way to thank you.
In the operating room, beneath bright lights, a team of surgeons worked for 8 hours to repair the congenital defect that had shadowed Isabella since birth. When the monitor finally steadied into a strong, regular rhythm, the lead surgeon exhaled. It was done. Isabella woke in a recovery room, sunlight painting the walls gold. For the first time in months, she didn't feel the weight in her chest.
Is it really over?
It is. Your new heart is beating perfectly. Just rest now.
2 days after the surgery, on a quiet suburban street, Catherine Bellamy felt a sudden, piercing pain behind her eyes. She collapsed before she could call for help, her cameo brooch slipping from her collar and skidding across the floor. By the time the ambulance reached the hospital, she was unconscious. She was admitted to the ICU, 3 floors above Isabella's room.
Carol, my grandmother Catherine, have you seen her? She hasn't called, and that's not like her.
Isabella, your body just went through an enormous trauma. Right now, the only person you need to worry about is you.
You're deflecting. Please, if something's wrong, I need to know.
Before Carol could answer, Isabella's phone lit up on the nightstand. The caller ID read, Matthew Clark, estate attorney. Mr. Clark's voice was steady but solemn. Catherine Bellamy had suffered a massive stroke and was in the ICU. Her condition was critical. 3 days later, as her family gathered in a waiting room, Catherine Bellamy passed away. Isabella was not told until morning. A sedated Isabella woke to a world where the one person who had stood by her was gone. That afternoon, a courier delivered a flat package. Inside lay a sealed envelope inscribed in Catherine's handwriting, "Open only if I am gone."
She knew she might not survive. She knew, and she still...
She pressed the envelope to her heart, right over the spot where the anonymous donor's note still rested against her skin. A day later, alone in her silent apartment, Isabella broke the seal of Catherine's letter. Its first line read, "My dearest Isabella, if you are reading this, I am gone, but my love is not. I liquidated my retirement to pay for your surgery. No grandchild of mine would die for a cruise. They voted to take the money. Dorothy, Stephen, Ethan, Sarah, Patricia, Nancy. 6 hands raised against you."
Her hand trembled, the names searing into her memory like a brand.
"I have revoked their inheritance. My entire estate, $1.1 million, now goes to you."
Grandma Catherine, you gave everything. Everything.
Use it to build something that shames them. Make your heartbeat mean something. The letter fell to her lap. She sat in the quiet, a terrible, determined calm filling the space where grief had been.
I will make sure the world knows what they did.
That evening, Isabella called Nurse Carol. Her voice was steadier than it had been in months.
Carol, I know who paid for my surgery. It was my grandmother Catherine. She liquidated her retirement.
Oh, honey, that woman loved you more than anything. What are you going to do?
She left me a letter. She named all 6 of them, and she revoked their inheritance.
You need to bring that letter to the memorial. Let them hear it from her.
The next morning, Isabella dialed Matthew Clark.
Mr. Clark, I have my grandmother's letter. Is her new will legally sound?
It is ironclad, Isabella. She filed the amendment 2 months ago. The family knows nothing.
That afternoon, She stood before her mirror, the letter in hand, and rehearsed the words she would speak at Catherine's memorial.
For you, Grandma, every word.
The morning of the memorial, Isabella's phone buzzed with condolences, each one laced with the same hollow tone.
Isabella, your father and I will deliver the eulogy. It's what Catherine would have wanted.
Of course you do. You'll talk about Grandma as if you didn't betray her.
She dressed in black, but pinned a blue silk scarf at her throat, the color of Catherine's eyes. She pressed her thumb against the heart-shaped pendant, then slid the letter into her bag. The chapel was already half full, white roses framing Catherine's photograph. 6 familiar faces sat in the front row. Mr. Clark stood near the back, offering a quiet nod. Isabella nodded back.
Isabella, I'm so sorry. I had no idea about the cruise or the vote.
I can't do this with you right now, Emma.
As the pastor stepped to the podium, Isabella settled into her seat, finger tracing the folded letter. The room fell silent. The pastor opened with gentle, empty words about eternal rest. Isabella barely heard them. Then Dorothy glided to the lectern, pressing a tissue to her dry eyes.
Mother Catherine taught us so much about sacrifice and family.
I can't listen to this a second longer.
Isabella rose from her pew, walked to the lectern, and raised a folded sheet of paper.
My grandmother left a letter. She asked that I read it here.
She unfolded the page. Her voice cut through the silence. I name Dorothy Thompson, Stephen Thompson, Ethan Thompson, Sarah Thompson, Patricia Delaney, Nancy Wheeler. On a Sunday evening, these 6 raised their hands and stole my granddaughter's surgery fund for a Mediterranean cruise. Gasps ripped through the chapel. The 6 in the front row froze, faces draining of color. Isabella looked at each face in turn. The letter trembled, but her voice did not. Isabella drew a steadying breath and read the next paragraph, her voice gaining strength with each word. I have revoked the inheritance of Dorothy, Stephen, Ethan, Sarah, Patricia, and Nancy. My entire estate, $1.1 million, goes to Isabella Thompson alone. A wave of muttering swept through the pews. Dorothy inhaled sharply, her composure shattering.
That's a forgery. She was confused, the old woman.
We'll contest it. Every cent.
Mr. Clark rose from his seat, his calm lawyer's voice cutting through the chaos.
The will is ironclad. I filed it 2 months ago. The estate now belongs solely to Isabella.
Isabella lowered the letter, her gaze sweeping across the horrified faces of the front row.
Grandma Catherine also asked me to build something that shames them. So I will use every dollar to start the Catherine Bellamy Foundation.
The chapel fell silent. The 6 in the front row seemed to shrink into their seats. The silence broke with a sharp scrape of a pew. Dorothy stood, her face mottled.
I gave birth to you. How dare you humiliate us like this?
This is not over. You'll regret this.
But the guests were already rising, murmuring, turning their backs on the 6. Some walked straight out the chapel doors. Emma broke from a side pew, face wet, and caught Isabella at the base of the lectern.
Isabella, I had no idea. I swear I didn't know about the vote. I only went on the cruise because they said it was already paid for.
Thank you for telling me, Emma. But I can't be near any of you right now.
Isabella turned and walked to where Mr. Clark and Nurse Carol stood near the back, waiting.
Mr. Clark, I want the estate transfer started immediately. Every dollar.
The chapel was half empty now, the scent of white roses mixing with the bitter air of exposure. A week after the memorial, Isabella sat in Mr. Clark's office as the estate transferred into her name. Mr. Clark filed the nonprofit charter, while Isabella blocked every number from the 6. By month's end, a press release announced Catherine Bellamy Foundation to cover heart surgeries for the uninsured. The local paper ran a photo, Isabella at a donated desk, the framed letter beside her. The six soon learned that Catherine's letter had a longer shadow than they imagined. Dorothy's country club card was declined without explanation. Stephen's business calls went unanswered. Ethan and Sarah returned to an empty house, the silence louder than any shout. Patricia and Nancy arrived to church to find their committee names replaced on the bulletin. And the crew's photos, once the pride of their social media, were deleted, then hidden in a dusty drawer.
This is only the beginning. Every beat of my mended heart will honor you, Grandma.
The Catherine Bellamy Foundation launched in the sunny courtyard of the very hospital that had mended her heart.
2 years ago, a woman sold everything she owned so my heart could keep beating. Her name was Catherine Bellamy, and every life this foundation touches will carry her name forward.
Behind her, a framed photograph of Catherine and the handwritten letter hung on a temporary wall. The first beneficiary was a 10-year-old girl named Mia, who waited in the pediatric wing with the same defect.
Mia, your surgery is fully paid for. You're going to get the same chance I did.
Mia held up a crayon drawing of a heart, with "Thank you" printed in careful letters.
This is why. This is exactly why.
Isabella knelt and high-fived the little girl, and for a split second, she felt the weight of Catherine's brooch on her cardigan.
We did it, Grandma. We really did.
Months later, on a clear autumn morning, Isabella walked through the cemetery gates carrying a bouquet of white roses. She knelt before the simple granite stone and traced the letters with her fingertip. Catherine Bellamy, beloved grandmother.
I brought you roses, Grandma. The ones you always grew by the porch.
From her bag, she pulled the letter creased, familiar, and read aloud the last lines.
Use it to build something that shames them. Make your heartbeat mean something. My heartbeat means Mia, and 50 more like her.
She unpinned the cameo brooch from her collar and fastened it to her cardigan, the ivory profile facing outward. For a long moment, the weight of it felt like a hand on her shoulder.
I'll make you proud, every single day.
She rose, left the roses, and walked toward the morning sun, her new heart beating steady and sure. Meanwhile, the six who had voted to let Isabella die found that Catherine's letter had not only emptied their accounts, but hollowed out their lives.
I cannot live in this shoebox, Stephen. This is your fault.
My fault? You were the one who convinced everyone that cruise was a good idea.
Ethan and Sarah discovered that their names were toxic on any job application.
I go to the grocery store and people whisper. They know.
Patricia and Nancy found themselves uninvited from every bridge party and charity luncheon. The crew's photo, once their pride, ended up torn, hidden in a dusty box. Only Emma, the cousin who had been fooled along with Isabella, showed up at the foundation to volunteer.
I need to do something decent. Please, let me help.
Your help is welcome. But trust takes years.
A year later, on the anniversary of Catherine's death, a small group gathered in the same chapel. No 6 front-row vacancies, only those who had stood by Isabella.
Today, we inaugurate the Catherine Bellamy Memorial Scholarship. It will fund nursing school for cardiac patients, like the ones who saved me.
She gestured to the framed photograph on the altar, the same one from her apartment, and the letter, sealed in a glass case.
Make your heartbeat mean something. That's what she wrote, and that's what we'll do.
That evening, in her apartment, Isabella placed the cameo brooch on her nightstand beside Catherine's photo. She ran her thumb over the ivory profile, then closed her eyes.
Every heartbeat is for you, Grandma.
For the first time in over a year, a genuine, unburdened smile crossed her face. She reached for the lamp, and the brooch caught the last light, winking once before the room went dark. Outside her window, the city still glowed, and inside, A mended heart beat quietly on, ready for tomorrow. Within 2 years, the Catherine Bellamy Foundation moved into a larger office, the walls filled with thank you letters from families given a second chance. One afternoon, a young boy handed Isabella a crayon drawing of a repaired heart scrawled with the words, "Thank you for my mom." She pinned the drawing right beside the photograph of Catherine. The cameo brooch glinted as she smoothed the corners. Isabella never forgot the moment she first held a letter that changed everything. She made sure every beat of her mended heart now beat for someone else. She walked into the foundation building each morning with the same steady rhythm in her chest. The first thing she saw inside was Catherine's letter, framed on the wall. It never moved.
Morning, Grandma.
The foundation survived not on revenge, but on the love of a grandmother who refused to let her granddaughter die for a cruise. And as the sun climbed higher, Isabella's heart, the one Catherine had bought, beat on. In a cramped apartment, the torn cruise photo, 6 smiling faces on a deck, lay at the bottom of a dusty box. Beside it, a newspaper clipping, the luxury trip that cost them everything. The ink had faded, but the shame had not. Across town, Isabella sat at her foundation desk, the morning sun catching the copper in her hair. She smoothed a crayon drawing from a 7-year-old who had received a new valve last week. She pinned it beside Catherine's photograph, right above the framed letter, and let a smile surface. They chose a cruise. She chose a legacy. The foundation would fund 94 heart surgeries in the next 5 years, each a pulse her grandmother had made possible. And every morning, as she passed the glass case, she read the last line. Make your heartbeat mean something, and as the brooch glinted, hers did, beating for every patient who walked through the door. In the foundation office, the framed letter never moved from its place on the wall. Its last line still held the weight of a grandmother's impossible choice. I did what I had to do.
Every heartbeat is for you, Grandma.
Isabella's thumb brushed the heart-shaped pendant that had never left her neck. The metal was warm from her skin, a quiet pulse beneath her fingers. She looked up at the photograph beside the letter, a younger Isabella wrapped in Catherine's arms. The same smile she now wore, earned through loss and love, resting easily after years of grief. Light caught the pendant, and for a moment it glinted like an answered prayer. The camera holds on the pendant as the world softens around it. Then gently, the image fades to black. The Catherine Bellamy Foundation stood bathed in the golden light of late afternoon. In front of it, a figure paused. Copper hair caught the breeze. Isabella Thompson looked up at the sky, a quiet smile on her lips. Isabella Thompson's heart was fixed, but it was her grandmother's heart that made it beat with purpose. She turned toward the entrance, her steps steady, and pushed open the glass door. Above her, the name Catherine Bellamy glowed in the last light of day. A name that had once been a whisper of dissent was now a beacon for the abandoned. Inside, she would answer another letter, fund another surgery, and save another life. The sun set lower, and the foundation's light stayed on. And in the quiet, a heartbeat. Not the one that had been saved, but the one that had refused to stop believing.